My name is Reynir Harðarson, and I'm the game director for Pax Dei. Pax Dei is an open world fantasy game in a living, breathing world which we can call home, where it's teeming with life, mysteries, and it's for you to explore. Imagine yourself if you are living in 12th or 13th century Europe. It's a very different reality. It's where knowledge has been lost and is getting rediscovered. It's where magic truly exists and ghosts exist and the myths are real. And this is kind of the inspiration we take to build. It's basically going back to the roots of what fantasy means and building a fantasy world based on real-world mythologies. And so we go very much into the roots. So we're using a lot of medieval literature and medieval bestiaries and grimoires, using real-world magic, actual recipes for healing and ointments, and using the real-world magical properties of plants.
I'm Sokara. I'm the Chief Product Officer at Mainframe Industries. So Pax Dei, maybe the way to explain it would be, imagine you're in this amazing, beautiful world. It's huge. And you find yourself in a forest, and your mission is to find a plot for where you start building a home. And from that home, you will go on to adventures to explore the world. So with the lore, we have wanted to create something that is fairly deep and rich and grounded in reality, but something that is actually not a direct copy of any of the history. So there's multiple types of ruins, there's the dungeons, and you will be able to find snippets of the lore from the eras when these were created in the game itself. And part of the lore and mystery is also part of in the gameplay itself. So you will be able to find and examine things and actually then find snippets that help you find other places and make items in the game itself. And the area of the game that you will be able to play when the game launches is, we're calling it Gallia, and it's very similar to the areas of the world in southern France, with the influences from the Nordics where we're from. So what we're building is, we're calling it the social sandbox. We're putting the least amount of barriers to entry on how you can actually interact with other players. Where most MMOs actually put a lot of blocks in how you can cooperate with the other players, and we're fundamentally different. So from the first minute when you start playing the game, you will be able to do everything you imagine with the other players. So you can trade, other people can actually help you. You can literally go onto a dungeon raid from the very beginning of you starting the journey in the game, should you find people who actually help you to do that. What we want to create an environment that actually really incentivizes people to play the game the way they like. And for some, actually just going out to the wood and cutting down the forest is something that gives you a sense of achievement, because you know the coal that you're helping to produce actually is valuable for the guild. Some people will absolutely prefer to just go to the dungeons. They couldn't care less about the coal production, but these players will still depend on each other, where there's valuables to bring from the dungeon, there's valuables to bring from the forest, and even the PvP players, they will be able to produce items that are only available through the PvP, but they will depend on the other players as well.
The lore of Pax Dei is very much inspired by real-world folklore and fairy tales. With, of course, the caveat that in Pax Dei, this stuff is actually literally real. The interesting thing about folklore throughout the ages is that folklore are actually start out as true stories, whereas fairy tales are fiction. And that's the distinction between the two. Folklore often, handles about ghosts or spirits or some supernatural things, but in the eyes of the people during those times, this is reality, this is real, ghosts are real, and this is not disputed as any fantasy. And this is what we want to reflect. So when you're walking in the forest during night, you will find these things, you will find ghosts, you will find the spirits of the past. And the deeper you go, the more mysterious and strange it becomes.